What you can see in the background is probably the most feared screen for all producers ever. It's a completely empty or blank note clip with a piano roll attached. And how do you create actually nice harmonies in this empty space? Well, you start with the note. We put down here just one note, and I don't care for a scale or anything. I just put down one note anywhere. It's all about relationships between notes in this video. And I also want to explain later on how you can rebuild something like this inside of the note grid. With the voice stacking, of course. So, but now we want to focus here on some notes so we get the idea what I'm actually doing later on. So here we have just one note. The second note goes exactly 7 semitones higher. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a power chord now. And it's a perfect fifth relationship. So this is the root and this is the fifth. And these two are exactly 7 semitones apart. The next note goes in the middle. And you can divide basically this distance between these in different ratios. So the best ratio is probably either a minor third, which is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It's a minor chord now. So the distance between this and this is called a minor third, and it's always 3 semitones. Then you can move this up here 1. So now we have here 4 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, right? It's called a major chord. And the distance between this and this, it's a major third, okay? And with this alone, with this knowledge alone, you can do basically so many things. Because everything is like this. So we have 4 semitones here. We have 3 semitones here. The next note is, maybe you can guess it, exactly 4 semitones above this note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a major 7th chord. The interesting thing about this is not only that you alternate between 3 and 4, because we have 4 here, 3, 4, but also the distance between this one and this one is also 7 semitones, which is basically a fifth. So it's kind of 2 power chords combined. And these 2 power chords are placed 4 semitones apart, or a major third apart, right? It's all it is. It's nothing more, nothing less. So you can continue this until you hit notes that are not that harmonic, that sound dissonant. And it's sometimes interesting because you want to have like dissonant chords for horror movies or whatever. But you can continue this. So we have 4 here, 3, 4, next one 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. It sounds pretty jazzy, but I just want to show you that you basically continue this. So this is a fifth, this is a fifth, this is a fifth. So it's multiple power chords stacked on top of each other with a distance of 4 semitones, right? So this one here is basically a chord. This one. So these are basically the kind of fifth, more or less. So you can see how it's stacked together, right? But we don't want to use that many notes in the chord progression now. Let's just stick here with 4 notes, which is kind of a major 7th. You can also switch this to a minor 7th, so we bring this down. So here we have now 3, 4 here, and 3 here. So it's a major 7th or a minor 7th. You can also use a normal 7th chord, which is basically that you have a major chord here, and this one is diminished. So you bring this down. So we kind of delete or remove the nice harmonic relationship between these two. So here it's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 semitones. So it's not a fifth anymore. It's kind of a dissonant chord. It sounds like this. It's not that nice anymore. And usually you use these chords to make something resolve. So you want to create tension and you want to resolve it to a nice chord. So we can just use this chord here, duplicate this, and bring this back. So the relationship here is really nice again. It's a fifth again. And then you bring this down 7 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it sounds kinda released. So tension and release, okay? So this is how you kind of use this. But just as a side idea. So again, we only use 7 semitone steps and maybe 3 or 4 semitone steps. So this is also how you can create chord progressions, not only these chord shapes here. So you just duplicate this and say this major chord, or maybe let's go with the minor 7th chord here. So the next chord we can just choose by going down maybe 3 semitones, so a minor third. 1, 2, 3. You can see these 2 notes align, these 2 notes align, so it should sound nice. Right? So you can say, I want to switch this here up 1 octave, so you can use the shift and the arrow keys. So we'll bring this up. Right, you go somewhere. You can also say instead of 3 semitones, you can go 4 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now these 2 notes align, which is nice. You can bring this up. So usually when notes are close together, it usually sounds better than having here this gap, right? This hole in there and then a note down here. So I use this just to close the gap. We can also do things like instead of going down 4, we can say this is a minor 7th, and we switch this now back to a major 7th, and then go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So now we switch not only the root note, we also switch the chord type from minor 7th to major 7th. And we bring this up here. So it sounds different, it has a different feel, but it still works. So then we can maybe repeat this here. And here we maybe use a different inversion. Let's say this is the 7th here, or the 5th of this. So we bring this down, we bring this up. Let's see how this sounds. So it's kind of repeating the same chord from here, but in a different inversion, so it sounds different. And all we have to do now is basically resolve to this one chord here with the different chords. We duplicate this chord here and go up 7 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you go down in 7 semitone steps, it's basically a nice cadence. And in functional harmony, it's usually this is the 5 chord and this is the 1 chord. But all you need to know is that if you take a chord and pull this chord down 7 semitones to this chord, it sounds resolving. That's all you need to know. So you concentrate basically on the relationship between the chords, or the intervals between the chords, right? So let's use this as a bass note maybe. Let's see, bring this down. Let's see how this sounds. Okay, so this is maybe an interesting chord progression you like, but you can see you can diverge on certain points in different directions and use maybe 4 semitones, maybe 3, maybe 7 to create interesting shapes. You can also use 2 or something else. It doesn't matter. The important point is actually that you stick to some kind of intervals, to some kind of pattern that people can recognize. So here we have also a pattern in there. We have basically here the root note. Then we have here some kind of idea where we're going to somewhere. Here we repeat the first idea, right? So there's repetition there. And then we have here a cadence to resolve basically to the first chord. So what we can do now is we can create a bass note, additional notes. We just duplicate here this bottom note, go down exactly 1 octave. You can see it's G sharp here, it's E, D. It's basically the same note, just 1 octave lower. And all we did is basically switch between minor 7th and major 7th, which is basically just 3 here, 4 here, or 3 here and 4 here, right? And then switching between the chords between 3 semitones down or 4 semitones down, on here 7 semitones up, because 7 down is a nice resolution. So you stick basically to the same numbers all the time for creating the chord types and creating the progression. You can also do funny things like in between chords, like from this chord to this chord, it's maybe too boring and you want to bring in a chord in between these two, right? So you do an easy trick. You just create the same chord again. Let me see, let me bring this together here. So this chord here is the same chord as this one, right? But you already know that when you pull this up 7 semitones, it resolves pretty well. So we pull this up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And maybe bring these notes a bit closer together here. Something like this. And it's maybe sounds a bit off from here to here, but then you resolve quickly to this. So it sounds like this now. Okay, you can do the same thing here also if you want to. So again, we don't care for any scale. I have no idea on which scale I am. All I'm caring for is the relationships or the ratios or the intervals between these notes and these chords between them. Maybe I use here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up. Bring this down. Let's stick with this. It's a bit dissonance here. Yeah, maybe let's be a bit more fancy and do the same thing here again with 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up. Bring the notes closer together. Let's see how this sounds. So this is basically the magic of sticking to these simple rules of intervals, and you can create chord progressions this way. It's just one way of creating a chord progression, but if you are not sure in which scale you are, and how scales are built, you can just stick to these simple rules and you can create nice chord progressions this way. And you can, you know, do these even longer. You can say something like this, and then you switch certain notes here around and see how it sounds. And maybe we don't go up here. Let's go to C. That's too high. Let's go to F here. Something like this. So you have a different chord progression here. It's still the same chords as before, but the inversions are a bit different. Oh, wait a minute. I need to extend this here. And without any hassle, you can create chord progressions the easy way. So this is now needed to know for you because we want to create something in the note grid. So we have still the piano here, and we use a note grid. And we have the piano here. And what we want to do now is to create multiple notes with the voice stacking here. So we use a transpose here, transpose, and create multiple stacks, let's say 3 stacks. And we use a voice spread control here. And we choose here value. You can see value means 0 times, 1 times, 2 times, 15, up to 15 times. Okay, so we choose this, and we can now modulate this here by exactly 7, which means the first note or the first stack plays a note that is the root note. The second one plays a note that is 7 semitones higher, so a fifth. And then the third note is also again a fifth higher. So we have 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. Okay, and it sounds like this. And if we pull up here, let's say a virtual keyboard, you can see how it looks like on the keyboard. So I press this note here, and then the note grid creates all the other notes. So this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can create multiple stacks now. You can create more and more notes. And yeah, you can also create complete, let's say, scales from that, because the scales are actually only, or all notes in a scale are actually just a fifth apart, just in a different order, more or less. So you can create scales this way. So here, when we press the note, you can see it's spread across the keyboard, so multiple octaves. But when we bring this down here to one scale, let's say with the wrapper, let's say use a wrap. Let's use a wrap here. Let's use a multiply to scale it up. And let's use a divide. Constant. And use a constant of 10. Go in here. And then use this as a thing. So we wrap basically everything around in the scale of C3, around C3. Or actually I need to use a constant here. You can see everything is contained within one octave here, right? C3 up till C4. So we have some kind of scale now at the moment here. And what we need to do is we need to pull this down by -28 semitones. And the question is probably why. So it's just multiple fifths down. I'll show you this in a minute, maybe on the circular fifth. So -7, next is -14, right? 7 again is 21, the next is 28. And now I press D sharp. You can see we have now here all the keys of D sharp minor pentatonic. So D sharp, C sharp, F sharp, right? If I press A, you can see we have all the white notes. So it's A minor. I probably need one more note here, 7. So it's diatonic. Diatonic means, I think, 7 notes. So right, it's A minor. So it's basically just stacking fifths on top of each other to create a scale, a minor scale. This way you can also create major scale and all the other scales from that. It's just all the notes are usually just a fifth apart. That's all it does. So now that we can create a kind of these things, we pull this back here to 0. And instead of modulating this here by 7, we can also say, let's say 3, right? And maybe not 7 notes, we maybe only use 4. Or maybe modulate this by 4. Maybe without the wrapper. Let's go back to 3 here. So you can try and create chord progressions or chords with that. You can also switch here to primes or golden. You can see on the left side the voice levels here, which voice gets which value. So dependent on, I don't know why golden and primes is the same, but it's kind of roughly the same probably. So you can see the relationship here and how then it pans out. So you can modulate this here maybe by 36, which are 3 octaves. You can create interesting chord shapes with this, maybe. You can also do something like go back here to manual and modulate this again by 7. So we have now 7 semitones or fifths stacked on top of each other again. Oh, I need to switch to value, sorry. Okay, this is nice. Again, without wrapper. So nice. And then we pull this down maybe to 2 or 3. We put this here away for a moment. I don't need it at the moment. We duplicate this here and do a second note output. So right, we want to output 2 notes. And both notes do the same transpose at the moment, okay? But here, we want to offset by 3 semitones. So we basically do the same thing as before in the note clip here. We basically use this and this, right? And then we offset the second 2 notes by 3 semitones like this. And then we create basically a minor 7th with this. That's what we do inside here of the note grid. So now it sounds like this. It's a nice minor 7. And if you go up here to 4, it's a major. And then you can bring in here a button and say this is the major button. Was it actually called major? No, it's major. It's major, sorry. 3 and then modulate this by exactly 1. Now we can switch between the 2. Okay. And then you can do something like, let's say, change the root note of the chord with the pitch bus. Pitch bus, constant, and switch it around in 7 semitone steps. And use an add this to the root to input node here. And then we should actually have a 0 here. We have a D sharp minor, yeah. Then 7 semitones higher. Again. So you can basically circle around the circle of 5th with the chords with this. But you get pretty fast out of range, so we need the wrapper again for this. Right, we get. So we take a wrapper here again. A wrapper. Wrap. This goes in here, this goes there. We need, of course, a second one. This goes in there. So now we wrap everything back into an octave. We need only maybe 2 notes. Okay, so now we can use the constant here again. Does it make sense? I hope so. We can also introduce a bass note. So we use here another one. This one gets the top thing here. And this one is exactly 2 octaves lower. So we basically construct everything mathematically inside of the note grid instead of, you know, counting numbers inside of the piano roll. So every step up here sounds nice because you have basically a cadence all the time. But you can also, like we did with the chord progression, step in thirds, right? Something like this. So instead of fifths, we step in thirds. So also a way of creating stuff. So let's stick to 7 here, and maybe major, let's, instead of the parallel major, let's use the relative major, which is basically always 3 semitones higher, right? Yeah, let's use the transpose here. Transpose and pull this up 3 semitones. 3. Let's see how this sounds. So minor, relative minor. So you can create unlimited circular fifth progressions with this setup here. You can also switch between 7 and 3, of course, here all the time to create some variety with that. So we can do something like using a step mod here and going down to 4, because we only want to have 4 note progressions, 4 chord progressions. So you have the constant, we want to use a value here. So we modulated the value with that. But because this range is only between 0 and 1, and we need here integers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, we need to multiply this. And because we have here, you can see these lines, right? So first line, second line, third line, fourth line, so we go here up with 4. So we know exactly where we are. So this is the first fifth, this is the second fifth, and so on. So let's bring this here. So let's try it out. So let's go here, let's go there, let's go there, and maybe 5. So we go back here, maybe. Let's go there. Let's go 4. Let's go up and down for a moment. And then we need to trigger this, huh? So let's use triggers here for that. Does it work? Oh no, it doesn't work. We need to trigger from the outside. Okay, I see. That's too fast, so we switch this here to bar. Okay, and then we use here a second step mod, and go to 3 steps, and we switch to, let's say, to major at different points, because they loop differently, right? So sometimes this is a major then, and this is a major, and so on. So let's see how this sounds. You can kind of create these chord progression devices that give you interesting chords at certain points. That's just a basic example, right? I want to give you basically an idea how to approach this and how to think about this. So, like I said, the number 7 is magic, 3 is nice, 4 is nice, and you can basically build everything just from that. And inside of the grid here with the pitch bus and with the voice stacking, it's also, you know, nice to do. So that's it for this video, I think. If you have some questions about it, probably, then let me know in the comments. Leave a like if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye.